Welcome back, everybody, to the GioMoShow right here on 88.3 FM WXOU, and we got a crowded studio for you guys today. We got some fantastic guests here. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we got a club football focus for the GioMoShow today, and who better to have than not only the president, not only the captain, not only the quarterback, but big representatives of club football. We got Devon Banks and Evan Plets here in the studio. How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Fantastic. So I'm very excited to be covering you guys because I remember last year when I was covering the team a little bit, it was a little bit sporadic for my coverage at least. But now that I got kind of got my footing here at the station, I'd love to start learning about you guys and really get into it. So I'm happy to have you guys on.
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
All right, so I want to start. So we'll start with like questions for both of you guys, and then I got a couple individual ones. So just for a heads up. So for you guys, obviously, it's not Division I football. Let's call a spade. It is club football. So when people tell you that, when people say, "Oh, it's just club football, what's the big deal?" What's your guys' reaction to that?
Club football for us, the way we kind of market it out to high schoolers and everything like that, and guys that are trying to come in, is it's a chance to play football after your high school time is done. You know, so many people, once your last high school game's played, you don't get to ever put a helmet on again. You're done. Club football is an opportunity for people that might not have got the looks in high school to go play D3, D2, D1. It's a chance for them to get to play again. It's a great opportunity just to get involved in college itself and to find friends outside of just your regular classes too. So
do you guys ever feel like a little bit like disrespect when people were to say it's like just club football, not a big deal? Like Evan, I guess I'll go to you for that.
Yeah, no, So my senior year of high school, I tore my ACL, and I had 3, preferred walk-ons at that point.
Okay.
But I got them all taken away, so club football to me, is just a second chance of getting to do what I love.
So for you guys, in high school, I'd imagine if some of those offers were to, did go away, how did you guys handle the fact that you might not ever play football again before coming to Oakland? What was your guys' experience kind of coming to terms with that?
It's pretty tough because it's in high school, it's such a big part of your life. It's everything. So you spend 5 months out of your year doing it every single day, and you're around a bunch of people that you see more than your families most of the time. And then when you're a senior and it's done, it's gone. Now you got all this time on your hands, and you have no idea what to do with it because now there's not a season upcoming or anything like that. Then for me, I found my way to Oakland and started playing here almost right away. So
yeah. So Evan, what was your experience like?
So I had to say goodbye to football before I even got to play a snap my senior year because I had to have a season-ending surgery. Mm-hmm. So I had to come to terms with it a lot earlier than most people do. So getting a second chance of getting back onto the field was just huge for me.
So how did you guys hear about club football? Let me rephrase it this way. So when you came to Oakland, did you already know that there was club football for you guys to participate in?
Yeah, I knew. My dad's coworker, his son actually played for the team a few years before I ever did. And so I found out about that before I graduated high school. So I got in touch with one of the coaches and was talking to them while I was in high school getting ready to graduate.
Yeah, and Evan, how about you? Did you know about club football coming into it?
High school teammate of mine actually asked me to come out just for a practice or two, and I've been here for 3 years now.
So it seems like the club football network is pretty strong to get you guys from Jumpstart, let's say. So for you guys, what was that? What did you guys think of club football initially before actually being in it and playing in it? What was your perspective from the outside? If you remember.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure what to expect. I played at Clarkston in high school, so they're very prestigious and they take it all very seriously. So coming into Oakland, I wasn't sure what to expect or how high level it was. And then my first practice, I realized how hard everybody practiced and how serious they took it. It wasn't just club football to them; it was everything. So that I bought in, tried to get in right as soon as I got here. So
yeah, I have the same experience as that.
Awesome. So I mentioned it in kind of the season review that you play schools that have let's say their club team is attached to a Division I team. So this past season was Michigan State, Ohio State, and Toledo. I think Toledo's got a D1 team, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys notice a difference when you play the teams with that attached D1 school compared to other Horizon League schools, Wright State, Milwaukee? Like, can you guys tell the difference?
Oh, big time. Yeah, a lot of those schools like Michigan State, Ohio State, Toledo, those schools, they have like an attraction for people that love football a lot more. I know Oakland has a lot of people that love football, but we don't have a D1 team here, so like there's not many people coming to walk on to Oakland D1 football because it doesn't exist. But Ohio State, Michigan State, they have guys that go and try to walk on, and if they don't make the walk on right away, they'll get suggested to go to the club team. So they have a lot bigger access to more football players out the gates. So.
And for something that I noticed on both of you guys, so you guys' social media has been making a big push to highlight you guys and to kind of give like players spotlight, and that's how I got in contact with you guys, I'll be honest. And I noticed both of you guys, when it says favorite food, both of you guys listed chicken wings. So I have to ask, what's your favorite spot? Where are the best wings that you guys can find?
Ooh, well,
I know a bit of a turn on the questions, but
it works for us really well because we have practices on Thursdays. So then there's the double boneless at Buffalo Wild Wings, so that's a go-to for after practice. And then there's a local spot called RJ's. They got really good. They got really good wings too. So
all right,
if you're around the Oakland area, that's the spot.
So do you guys like it hot usually? Like, what you guys take it spicy?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What's the hottest you've ever done?
Oh, not that spicy.
No?
But spicier than most.
All right, you like a little sizzle.
Yeah.
I say this because I get crazy sometimes and then I end up regretting it. So I'm always curious about of other people's level to it. So anyway, back to football. So Devon, some questions for you. So you play both sides of the ball in the trenches.
Yeah.
So is that something that is like you have to do it because of roster issues, or is it something you get to do and you like doing it?
So last year, for example, I usually don't play both ways. I try to keep it all on offense. It's my preferred side of the ball. But last year, our biggest issue last season was just depth and health. So further we got into the season, more injuries we got. So by those last two games, where you're overviewing the schedule, we played Toledo, got beat up pretty bad. By then, we were so few in numbers that like our defense was almost entirely, guys going both ways because we were just so thin. So I played tackle to start the year. Then we got an injury, bumped to center. Then our nose tackle got injured. So then I was playing center and nose tackle back to back for the last two games. So that it adds up on you. But that is not preferably how you want to do that. No.
Yeah. So calling all hogs, by the way, for those who are interested in joining club football, you'll have a spot, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
There's spots in the trenches for you guys, so be sure to give them a shout out. We'll get to the ways to contact and to join club football towards the end of the show here. So Devon, for you playing on both sides of the ball, you prefer offense. How big of an adjustment was it to learn the defensive side of the ball?
Oh, it's a big one. Luckily, nose tackle's not the craziest position in terms of everything. You just kind of got to beat up the guy in front of you.
Yeah.
But, having to pick up all the calls right away, or especially in the middle of a game, you don't have time to ask questions. You kind of just got to go. So a lot of it's just assuming and hoping for the best, and that's what I kind of had to roll on for the most part.
And now moving to Evan, we got the quarterback here. So at this level, I've never played quarterback. I had a short stint in Iroquois Middle School football. I was middle linebacker, and I was this big. So for you playing quarterback, what is the preparation like getting ready for each week's game? Is it a lot of film study? Is it
definitely
a lot of film study? Is it kind of just reading and learning the playbook? Kind of go through your preparation for each week. I'm curious.
Yep. So we'll add plays each week, just special plays that can attack their defense. So I'll sit there, learn those, watch an ungodly amount of film, and then I just have to clear my mental, and then just take it as that.
So is it tough to balance learning playbook, learning film with school as well?
Definitely.
We're all students here.
Yeah,
definitely.
So how do you manage that kind of time? Do you just kind of keep the schedule and keep it strict, or you just make it work?
Kind of both. So right now, we're learning the playbook again. So right now, we're getting all of our basics. So I'm learning that right now before I have to go back to school, and then we'll just add on to there. So a couple plays every week is not that big of a deal to learn.
Okay, well, they keep it manageable.
Yeah, plus
guys.
we practice it 40 times a week.
Yeah, so I'm sure it helps. So I'm embarrassed to say it. I wanted to go and watch one of the games last season for myself, but I didn't have the chance to. So Evan, could you describe to me kind of the style of the offense? Because as I'm looking through the stats here, it's kind of a mix of in the air and on the ground with you participating in both. So what would you say is the offensive identity of Oakland Club football?
It's always been ground and pound. And it's just cut and dry like that. Like, all we're going to do is we're going to show you that we're bigger, we're stronger, and we're going to just pound the ball down your throat. And
do you guys kind of like get into that mode?
Yeah.
When you guys get ready for games, you gotta get the grizzly out of you. Let's say
for sure.
So, and actually, that brings me back to Devon. So, when you're switching from offense to defense, did you have to kind of switch your mentality of it as well?
Yeah, big time.
Going from like protector to destroyer, let's say.
A little bit, yeah. So, I played O-line since I was in freshman in high school, so I've always had that mentality. Just like my job is to protect him, and then going on defense, my job is to hurt someone else as bad as I can. So you cut out all the protect other people as much as you can. So
have you always had that side of you that like wanted to do that, and this was your chance to get it out, or
a little bit, yeah. I show it on offense from time to time. Whenever we're running the ball, it's a lot of fun because that's my time where I can really just single out someone.
You take them down to the first down.
Try to, yeah.
So for this season, like I went through the games myself, but as I mentioned, like who better to ask about each game than you guys? So I'm curious, what do you guys remember? We'll kind of go through the games of each season here. So your first game against Loyola Chicago, final score was 45-10. You guys winning that. What do you guys remember from that game? That you could tell me kind of firsthand. Yeah, Evan, let's go to you.
All right. I just remember we were doing very well on the ground, and we weren't going to shy away from it. Mm-hmm. And by, I'd say, the third quarter, I was out of the game because we were able to rack that many points up by the third quarter where we didn't want to risk the starting quarterback to get hurt.
Of course, yeah. So it was pretty early in the game. You guys got that lead, and then you just...
Yep. We held on to it. We just tacked more on.
So Devon, from your perspective in the trenches, if you guys had kind of great success on the ground, was that what was your experience like that for that game?
Oh, that's the best way to play.
Yeah.
When you're just running the ball nonstop, that's the funnest kind of football there is. For us, especially on the line, once the starting quarterback goes out because you have enough points where you can sit, then it's just a waiting game. So now you're really burning the clock. You're not getting as many plays in every minute.
Yeah,
and you can feel the energy just sucked out of the defense. It's a good spot to play offense.
So when you guys get a lead like that, do you guys just try your best to drive it as far as it can, or do you guys once you have a lead like that, you kind of take it easy, like for those that are still on the field?
We usually take it easy, try to milk the clock, just kind of end the game as soon as we can, just because there's no possible way of coming back for them. So as long as we can drain the clock, we can get out of there and go home.
Okay, well, that's good. You guys playing it safe. So moving on to week 2 was against Miami of Ohio. Much tighter game, 9-7 was the score for this game. So Evan, what do you remember from that game?
They didn't have a lot of players on their sideline, but they had a lot of grit. They definitely had a lot of grit. They were big. They were strong. It was a rough game. It was a rough game.
Yeah, so Devon?
Yeah, same thing. There's very mentally tough team. They came in, their defense they were matching us a lot. When you're reading off the stats, we did pretty good on the ground, but we just couldn't find the end zone. They found a way to lock us up every time.
163 on the ground.
Yeah, so big thing take away from that game is just try to have better outcomes. And there was a few times where we were shooting ourselves in the foot, right at the end zone.
Yeah. So in those kinds of situations, what do you guys do? You guys have, let's say, a routine? If there's something like that, a shot in the foot happens, do you guys have how do you guys get over that to continue to the next play? What's the mentality like for that?
Just kind of reset your mentality and be okay, we messed up there. Now we just have to attack the next play. We have to find our groove. We have to experiment, kind of what's going to work best against this defense. It also didn't help that our center went out in the second quarter. So then we're trying to figure out who's going to be our offensive line at that point.
So in those kinds of situations where you got a new roster on the fly, is that kind of a hectic thing, or do you guys have a lot of preparation in those kinds of situations?
I'd say it's pretty hectic, especially a lot of the injuries being on the O-line. That first week, that O-line, we'd been together for a few months at that point, so we had all our calls down. We meshed really well. We knew how each other played. And the second you get one injury and then one person moves positions, now everything's thrown off. Now you got to teach someone else, see how they kind of mesh in with you. Yeah. And sometimes that isn't the easiest transition, and we felt that pretty hard that second game. Yeah.
So your relationship with your fellow O linemen, you don't see a lot of it. There are not many professional players are mic'd up on the O line. So what kind of communication, for example, would you guys be having with each other, especially you as the center, directing it, I should say, or center for a little bit?
Yeah, we pretty much have our own language. It's every year we make a habit of sometime in the middle of our August camp, we'll go and have dinner together and eat, have a good time. Yeah. And then at the end we sit down for an hour and just start throwing ideas at the wall of what we want to call certain things. Okay. So every season we come in with a whole new language of how we call things, and then it's fun when we show up to practice the next day and everybody's waiting to hear what we're calling different things.
Oh yeah, so. You guys make have some fun with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was about to ask what one of your calls are, but I wouldn't want to give away the.
I'll give you one. We our trap calls at the time was dead celebrities, so we'd always call certain people like Elvis or Prince. It's a good time.
Do you guys name all the linemen?
All the linebackers have names. So you got Rick and Larry, and if you want to get in their heads, you get Liz and Susie or whatever you want to call them.
I don't know. You guys have a lot of fun with it.
Got to.
Of course. So, moving on to week 4, you guys faced University of Milwaukee. 31-8 was the final score. This was played at Oakland University. So Evan, for you guys, 31-8, great offensive performance here. What do you remember from that game?
I just remember that we still had the disrespect in our minds from 2021 in the conference championship. So we kind of brought that mentality into this game, and again, just ground and pound. We're gonna force them to go home. That's how we felt.
So when you guys got that final score, what was the celebration like in the locker room? You guys got your
revenge. It was pretty good. Oh, yeah. It was nice.
It was hype. Yeah. That's good to hear. So Devon, for you guys, that ground and pound once again, you got one of those games where you just drive them into the end zone. Kind of what was your experience for that? It was just a lot of fun at that point?
Same thing. It's a lot of fun. Games where you run the ball the entire time, it makes you feel a lot more important as a lineman. Passing game, it's always the receivers and everything. But running the ball, it always comes down to what O-line you got. And that game, when we felt like we could call anything and make it work, it was a really good time. Especially against that team.
Yeah, I'm sure. So in those kinds of games, you got a lot of plays going down. You're running the ball a lot. What you guys are just insanely conditioned, or don't you guys get gassed after a while, right?
After a while, but I would say we're pretty good, pretty well conditioned.
And I guess kind of away from the Milwaukee game here. So for you guys in those practices, getting that conditioning done, kind of what's the preparation for the season like? Kind of let's say the off-season training. What do you guys got going on for those?
So right now, I feel like we've been doing a lot of long distance. So we'll run a mile, we'll run 2 miles, we'll run hundreds. We're gonna do long distance just to open us up, and then we'll go to short burst at the end of practice.
Okay, and you guys got drills and everything kind of mixed in with the running?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, just a lot of transitions and things like that. So being able to switch directions, switch speeds very fast at different paces.
Football plays.
Like yeah.
And when in the calendar does it start? Because right now we're sitting here at July 13th. When does all that start? How long are you guys training before the season starts?
I feel like we start talking in March.
In March, really? And we usually get going at the end of February. So about 3 or 4 weeks before exams, we start spring ball. So
wow, really?
Yeah.
So say it again. You start spring ball?
Yeah.
So forgive me, that didn't come up in my research here. I'm gonna have to talk to the research department about that. It's me. So spring ball. I'm not familiar with this. Is this a second season that you guys play after the winter?
Mostly just practices. So it's just a way to get everyone back on the field, start knocking the rust off. It's another way to also start getting new players. Because season ends in November, not doing anything December, January, February. So hopefully by the end of February, you need to start the rebuilding process. So
Mm-hmm.
you lose a lot of players at the end of each season through graduating or guys just, not wanting to play anymore. So February is when you really need to start talking to people and getting out on campus and just bringing people in from classes. So the sooner you start, the easier it is to maintain those people, rather than like, hey, why don't you come out in 6 months from now? It's why don't you come out next week? So,
Oh, that's good. So, and I got into a little bit of the background of you guys and kind of how it started, how you guys kind of like maintain the club, interviewing Nick Bongers or Dr. Nick Bongers, which I have an article up on WXOU.org. Go check it out about club football. So, for you guys kind of getting the word out, spreading the message, all that kind of stuff, and especially you guys as captains, like what do you guys do to try to attract people?
I feel like
what's
pictures,
the main marketing strategy?
I feel like pictures do a lot of justice, because when you hear club football, they're not sure if it's flag football, 7-on-7, any of this stuff. And when we show them that it's real contact football, 11-on-11, it sparks their interest for sure.
So you guys make sure to get some lovely photographers for them.
Yep.
During the show, looking at one of those photographers in the studio right now, so for some context. So, and I have noticed this season, like I mentioned, I found you guys through your guys' player spotlights here. So, do you guys, is that like a decided push to kind of get the Instagram, kind of light it on fire a little bit?
Oh yeah.
And what role do you guys play as captains in that, and especially Devon, you as president? Do you guys have a big hand in the social media?
We've handed that off. One of our receivers, another captain, his name's Tyrese. He runs a lot of the social media. He's super good with all that stuff, and he's done a great job this year just keeping our name out there and getting people in. So,
and I would have loved to have had
all the credits to him. So,
well, that's awesome. Yeah, I would love to have had him in here, but we only have 3 microphones in the studio, so for. When I was talking to Dr. Bongers about it, he was saying like you mentioned, like you got to start rebuilding even in February, and like every season seems to be starting from the ground up. So other than social media, are you guys are just kind of going out spreading the word, maybe or just kind of word of mouth? How long or how much of that are you guys doing during the off season?
I'm doing it quite a bit. I'll reach out to former high schoolers that I've played with or that I know are about to graduate, so that they can start talking about it in their program. So I keep doing that every year. It's not worked out so well so far, because people tend to have an ego where they don't want to play club football. They'd rather play D3, where they might not play at all. Where
but it says D3.
It says D3.
yeah.
Yes. So forgive me. I guess we could start. We could continue down the season here. We got a bit of a season left. So you guys got the big Michigan State game on homecoming week, and a friend of mine who went to the game, he told me that there was some questionability with that game. Do you guys remember anything like that during the game against Michigan State?
It got pretty chippy quick. They had I think he played corner or safety or something like that, but he was chirping us from the start.
Oh yeah.
Couple of our guys were, going at it back while we were stretching before we even started the game.
Really?
So we were yelling across the field. Yeah, it was getting ugly. Linemen were actually super nice. We talked for the most part. That's the funny thing about linemen is you beat each other up the entire game, but for the most part, you're pretty talkative, Yeah. But receivers and corners,
oh my god,
they want to fight all game long, and it's rare to see 2 linemen actually get into it. It's happened a couple times, but. At Oakland, I mean. But for the most part, it's pretty laid back in between the whistles. But that game, he kept chirping us, and then end of the game, we lose, and we're going through the high five line.
Oh God!
And he's still just running his mouth, and then
I'm sure extra hard high five,
he
gives you some stingers. I can't stand that.
Both teams' coaches were splitting the whole team up. It was pretty bad.
Jeez.
There's still some guys that you're trying to talk to, certain people that you played against, but you still have respect for because you played against them, and you're trying to talk to them. But now the whole team's getting split apart, and you're like, all right, I guess I'll talk to you next time. So, that game it got pretty ugly there at the end.
Yeah, I remember him going up in the stands and somehow found my girlfriend talking.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, hoping he plays this year.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see him back. Are you
Yeah.
Who let him in the stands? He just snuck up in there after the game, or
I guess I don't even think he realized it was my girlfriend, but
a lucky
Still,
guess.
yeah.
Wow. But my friend came back. I didn't think it went this deep. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm sad I missed it. So anyway, moving down the season here, you got your game against Ohio State. So this is one of the games that you guys mentioned against those D1 schools. It becomes a bit difficult. So what do you guys remember from that game? 54-10 was the final score.
Ohio State's kind of been like the silver bullet to us the last couple of years. We just haven't been able to find a way around it. They're very well coached. They're a very good team, and the toughest part is that when we play them late in the season, depth's already an issue.
Yeah,
and then they have a huge team every year.
Yeah.
I think every year we played them, they've had 40 plus 50 guys.
Wow, really?
So we're usually going into that game somewhere around 25 to 30. And it's
barely starting lineup.
Yeah, so it gets really difficult, especially the later you play them. And then again, just
their offense is very well coached. Like they had a wide receiver that had an offer to play on their Division I team, but he's like denied it because he's in nursing school or something like that.
He's a nurse or he's super smart. He's
no
going to school to
kidding.
be like a doctor or something.
And then their quarterback went to the NFL or the college pro day for Ohio State. Yeah, they have some athletes on there.
No kidding. Wow, I knew that it some of those D1s they filtered down, and you guys told me they did. That's quite a hefty load.
Yeah, they definitely like feed the club team.
So moving on now, you guys got another Horizon League opponent, Wright State, where you guys got them 36-3. We're running a little bit low on time here, so any short memory of that game against Wright State?
Just another good ground game. Back to what we were trying to make happen.
Yeah, so game went as planned, let's say.
Yeah.
And then finally, we got against Toledo.
Wheels fell off.
At that point. We had
end of the season. You guys were even more injuries tacked on since.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think by the end of that game, we probably had a little over 20 healthy guys.
Man.
Yeah. It was
rough.
I think we lost 2 guys during that week just in practice from random injuries.
Wow. And how many did you guys start with?
Usually going to the season around 35-ish.
Wow.
35, 40.
Come, start of school.
Yeah.
Usually you lose like 2 guys because they decide to drop out or anything like that. But then injuries it's been the issue for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame for things to come down to injuries like that. You'd rather be beat when you're at your best. You know what I mean? So anyway, to wrap it up here, we've been talking a lot about club football here. But for those that are listening and are like, "Wow, this sounds pretty cool. I might want to join." Where could they go to join club football?
Instagram's the best spot to do it. I think it's changed the name a couple times. It should be Football Club at OU. Yeah. That's the best way. Just shoot us a DM. We'll get in touch. I think we have an email too, but Instagram's going to be the fastest way to do it.
Yeah, I remember going through the OU Recwell website, going to Club Sports and registration that way. That's another avenue for those who would like to join.
They can do that as well.
Send an email. Yep.
If they want to come out and see a practice, we practice Tuesday, Thursdays. So anyone's welcome to come watch, hang out. If you're a student, you can come, throw the ball around, meet some of the guys, and then see if you like it or not.
Tuesday, Thursdays from 8 to 10 p.m.
So definitely, for those that are interested, come on out to see your Oakland University club football team get their work in. And that is going to wrap up the JoMo Show. Here we got the summer sessions with RBJ coming up next at 7 o'clock here. Fellas, thank you so much for coming out to the JoMo Show. This was a fantastic way to kind of get to know you guys in your sport.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
and you can listen to the JoMo Show. And if you missed a live show Thursdays at 6 o'clock on WXOU or at your own convenience on YouTube and Spotify, be sure to give a like and a subscribe and a 5-star rating to those post recordings. So thank you everybody for coming out to the JoMo Show. Coming up next is DJ RBJ with the Summer Sessions on WXOU.